McCordsville Architectural Review Committee to order. Has everybody had a chance to look over the meeting minutes?
Yes.
I move we approve the minutes.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Passes 3-0. Old business. Davis Homes for Enclave at Deer Crossing.
Let me just, as they make their way up, just one quick comment. So we do only have 3 members here tonight. Every action takes 3 votes one way or the other. So if anyone prefer to wait for the full board, it's your right to do so. Just let us know. Otherwise, we'll proceed on. Right ahead, sir.
So we've got a customer that changed their preference on an exterior elevation for their home. Both of the elevations in question have been previously approved. In order to expedite their request, we are taking a previously approved elevation that was on their home and applying it to our spec home. And they have chosen a deluxe craftsman elevation that was approved when we started the neighborhood that hasn't been built in the neighborhood before. So we're just here today to request approval of flip-flopping the 2 exterior designs from one house to another house.
But we've already approved the elevation?
Correct, but we're changing homes, and we were told that it couldn't be an administrative approval outside of this meeting, that we needed to come in and make the request.
I'll want to get more input from Ryan.
Sure. But you are correct. Both elevations had been approved previously. We're switching which house the elevation is going to be
So
put on.
this diagram up here, what's on lot 11 is what we've already approved for lot 11, or that's what's moving to lot 11?
I don't think this diagram is correct. think
I was
it's
having a little
showing-
trouble deciphering it.
Yeah.
Maybe
So-
Ryan knows.
So what's going on?
So everything's shown, these elevations have been approved by you, but you approved them specific to certain lots. And I believe we're switching to 11 and 12.
Correct. However,
I think
it's a little hard to tell on here. This is a deluxe Tudor elevation. This is a deluxe craftsman elevation.
I didn't know we ever approved them for specific lots.
we did. They were presented and brought to you as, this is the proposal for lot 12 or lot 11. And so staff didn't feel like, since there wasn't your traditional anti-monotony review where we review an entire slate of homes,
Yeah.
we approved homes specific to a lot, that we have the ability to change that ourselves. So
But you're swapping the lots that they would be in, or?
we're swapping the houses. So this more craftsman style was proposed and approved by you on lot 11. Conversely, the more Tudor style, you can call it, that was on 11, it was on 12, and now it's proposed on 11.
Correct.
So on the diagram shows what we would be approving.
Correct.
And which one is the spec?
Lot 11.
And those other 2 are already sold to
Correct.
buyers, right?
And then this is a vacant site on lot 13.
And we're supposed to look at it for monotony?
Actually, just really, it's almost an administrative approval, but you weren't able to do it.
Because I think
To
because
me,
of
it's
the
an easy
site-specific
approval.
approval.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's simple, yes. I agree.
I move we approve the switch.
I second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Passes 3-0. Thank you. Thank you.
Before we move on to other business, is that something you would like staff to administratively approve in the future?
I mean, if we ever have the circumstance, I consider that administrative, because we've approved everything. It's just, the only reason would be if it was moving on to a monotonous site, which we don't have in this circumstance anyway.
You have 4 lots.
I think if you had a problem with anti-monotony, or if you had a problem with size of the building and the setbacks or something like that, but if you didn't have any problem, I agree with Tom.
Okay. Awesome. Good news.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Okay, next up, new business.
So I do not believe Store America is here tonight. I believe I referenced in an email to the board that staff still has some concerns over this particular item, and that's why we did not spend time drafting a staff report for it. So with them not being here tonight, we just request that their item be continued until the July meeting.
Do we need to move on that?
I don't think so.
Okay. Next up, AutoZone's request for approval of architectural design on 6800 West Broadway.
Good evening. My name is Nick West. I'm representing AutoZone. I'm with Prism Engineering, so we're the civil engineer for this project. AutoZone's architecture is in-house, so we can kind of speak on their behalf. But essentially, we've got this site that's over by the Meyer. It's the old Masterson Station development, which was approved a handful of years ago, I think maybe 2019. So at that time, their Noble Romans and I think Verizon building was reviewed and approved by you all, and they left an empty grass lot. So AutoZone is proposing to develop that, and they are presenting their proposed architectural elevations for approval. And really, this new building is one of the few things that's going in here, so pretty much all the infrastructure is already in. They're just going to build a building on it and a dumpster and open up for business. So,
So this is just retail, there's no, I see no doors or anything on it, there's no repair or anything.
that's right. They just sell auto parts and motor oil, stuff like that. A little bit about the building. We've got elements of stone kind of on the bottom. And there's two different brick patterns. Got a cornice to match the building that's next door. And then all of the stucco colors that we've got on here are, the intent is to match the existing building that's next door.
Because I remember that was a charcoal that we approved on the previous building.
Yeah, petitioners confirmed in writing that their intent is to make this gray color match that charcoal gray color on the other building.
Can you explain the articulations you're concerned about in your staff report?
Yeah, and the good news is that the petitioners met our requirements. So again, we drafted a staff report on Friday before the most recent elevations were provided, which are on the screen here today. But previously, this what we call bay right here was only slightly projected from the building, probably a brick course or so. So very little projection. The petitioner has revised it so that these columns and this kind of the sign area here all are on the same plane that projects about 3 feet out from the remainder of the building area, the building facade. So with that denoted, staff feels like this meets the spirit and intent of our articulation requirements. In terms of side and rear elevations, it doesn't quite meet the technical requirements, but again, they do have some articulation. Every column that you see on the rear here, the south elevation, or the columns on the east and west, the two side elevations, have some form of articulation, a brick course or so deep. And that is very similar to the level of articulation that's provided on the adjacent building when that was approved. And staff would recommend that you approve that modified or altered articulation here tonight, as we believe is in keeping with both what's existing adjacent and in keeping with the spirit and intent of the language in our zoning ordinance, which allows you some leeway for those elevations which are less visible.
And I think the size of the building is, if it was a much larger building, I'd be more concerned. And they're very nice elevations for the back and the sides. On the front elevation, the lower part's all in the same plane, correct? It's just the columns and the sign band?
I believe so.
That's correct. And I would like to add one other thing. On the front elevation, those pilasters that are kind of brought out for articulation, I believe the technical requirement is 3 feet. The next door neighbor building, I don't think extrudes quite that far. So the 3-foot extrusion, we feel may be different in character a little bit from the neighboring store. I did bring this up to AutoZone, and they said they would prefer an 8-inch, and that is a little bit closer to what they have, but they're perfectly happy to construct the 3-foot in order to meet the code.
Well, we'll provide some shelter for the people entering the store. 3 feet gives you some shelter, 8 inches leaves you in the rain and snow.
There's also you can see the black awning that runs across the top. So in addition to the 3-foot projection, there is an additional 4 feet that awning covers. So
it's
if that's a
of
total,
7 with the awning.
that's correct.
Oh.
The one thing different between this building and the other building, that other building's multi-tenant, I believe, so it's more broken up.
Yeah, it
So I
has-
think
it
this
has-
might be more important on this building than it is on that building.
Yeah, the other one has like a Verizon and hair shop
Yeah.
and Noble Romans. And
So I would just offer up, after having done that other building, I wish it had a little more articulation in it. Really the articulation is the 2 canopies, and that doesn't provide a ton. But I would somewhat concur with the petitioner that 3 feet might be a tad much for this size of building, and maybe there's a sweet spot between 8 inches and 3 feet.
Well, with the awning, I think that's almost disproportionate if it comes out 7 feet compared to the size of the building. So I think we could move more towards what AutoZone wants.
I mean, maybe 8, I would think maybe 18 is reasonable, because on a building this size, the 3 feet might actually look a bit much. But I don't think, based on it being one tenant with that large center area, I don't think 8 inches is enough. So we're only stepping back from our requirements at this point anyway, is my understanding, from the 3 feet. That would be my suggestion, is half of the 3 feet.
Yeah, that's fine with me. So we would move to approve this with the articulations, in the front articulation being a step out of 18 inches with awning.
Yes, and then accepting the articulation as shown on the other 3 facades.
I move we approve accepting the articulations as presented on the 2 sides and the rear, and with the modified articulation on the front of 18 inches plus awning.
Any questions about that?
Nope, I think AutoZone is more than happy with that.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye?
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Passes 3-0.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, next up is Lennar Homes' request for approval of new models.
Good evening, Tony Bagato from Lennar Homes. Just coming back for Alexander Ridge, since some of the homes that were presented last month didn't comply with the character exhibits, even though they met the PUD, we need to introduce some new home plans. So in reviewing these, I did omit this one, thinking it would not match based on some of the discussion. There was a couple other I think that were close, but because of the materials, I think they could still pass in potential discussion, so I left those on there. But we are proposing 3 new plans. And discussing one of them with Ryan, the Kingston, to make it approvable, we will have to add a 4-foot extension to the garage to get a little more square footage in there. But other than that, we reviewed all these other plans, and from the character exhibits, I thought these can be in keeping with the previous approvals and wanted to get them added to our home collection there in Alexander Ridge.
I actually prefer elevation A over elevation B. I think there's more going on, and it makes more architectural sense than B.
Okay.
But
Why-
I don't know if there's a reason why the A doesn't meet versus B, or,
Well, I think we
You
talked
just-
about it being, there need to be not just like a flat change with a color change, so that one has trim separating the middle.
oh, that center area doesn't step out, it's just
Correct,
flat?
yeah. Where B, there is a little bit of an offset and there's some shadow relief there. But yeah, in A, there's no relief there. It's all same plane. It's just trim separating the middle from the other sides.
I still think A's better.
Yeah, B just looks awkward to me.
Yeah.
There's something,
Also, Brickford, if that makes any difference to you.
Maybe it's a brick color on that, but the A still looks better to me. I wish it stepped out on the second floor if there's an articulation there, but I still like it
Okay.
better.
I mean, you guys
Especially if you go
can
back.
approve A, not B. That's just from what I was trying to get a read, so we were,
It actually has a band board between the two stories on the other one, right? If you, is there a
I
prior-
think there's more character going on in A with the smaller windows and the way everything works than some of what we saw in the past.
Yeah, I agree.
But B is just, I'm sorry, it's just an awkward elevation that window looks out of place in the middle.
okay.
Everything looks mismatched in B. It just doesn't flow. A is fine, and I like the
So-
brick on it, and I like the band board between the two stories when it's a white band board there.
A lot of it, I think, is the massing that makes the step out less important.
Okay,
And the overall quality of the design that's just missing in B. In C, that right gable, that's flush also, it looks like.
correct, yeah. Only the left gable is projecting out.
And that doesn't bother me as much since there's more going on the left side of it.
Yeah,
Well, I like A and C, not B so much.
See, I agree.
okay.
There's no reason.
As lo- yeah, as long as
no
it's not
reason-
missing.
There's nothing wrong with A other than it was,
You know, I think what I would,
it's not Xed out because we got too wide of a garage relationship to the house, or because brick doesn't wrap right, or,
I want to make sure that you hear that the reason we're going with the flat is there's enough else going on with it.
Yes, yeah.
Not that we like seeing the flat, but I
Correct, yeah.
believe that elevation is in keeping with the,
Right. And specific to that home, it's okay, right. I understand. No, I'm hearing that, yeah.
is the porch on A big enough? What are the dimensions on the porch?
yes,
That's right at the minimum, I think.
the minimum is 4 foot deep or 24 total square feet. This one, if my memory serves, meets the 4 foot of depth.
Yeah, those should be 4-foot entries. And the brick will return, it's not shown on the exhibit, but the brick will return there as well as the 24 inches back on the side.
because that's in the PUD, I believe.
Correct. Yeah.
Were you going to say something else about?
I was just gonna say, yeah, I believe A would meet all the requirements. Petitioners have provided a letter that states they'll meet all requirements, so I feel comfortable if you would rather move forward with A, that will be okay from a meeting standard standpoint there. And we would just denote B as having failed your test of the spirit, intent, character, and language from the PUD ordinance.
And it has the features, they're just not in the right places.
Yeah. You just don't think, yeah, understood.
Only comment staff has on the Hampshire, and Tony and I have already discussed it, so it's not news, but they offer a 3-car garage on the Hampshire, but in this case, it wouldn't meet the minimum, the maximum of 50% of the overall width of the home. So as they build the Hampshires in Alexander Ridge, there'll be 2 cars, or if they offer a bump, they could do 2 cars and a bump. They could not do a 3-car front load. They do have an offering that's a 2-car side with the 1-car, like, kind of tandem almost.
They call it a carriage, yeah.
Carriage, yeah, that would be okay. So I'm just saying that for the record. Who would handle that from staff perspective during a permit stage, but just making it clear that the 3-car front load won't meet the requirements. If it's submitted, we would deny it.
Was there a minimum number of 3-car, or was it just a total option?
No, I don't believe there was. It's an option. There may have been a requirement for a certain amount of size, like side load, I can't remember. Again, we'll fix that as we do review for building permits.
Yeah, I don't remember a requirement for third car.
Yeah.
No.
All right. Moving on to the next one.
Yeah, so it'd be Kingston
Or-
or Irvington.
Guess I'm out of
So this is one of the other ones like last time where the middle technically could convert to a garage door, but it'll exceed the square footage, so these will not have garage doors for a third car bay. So those will just all be interior space to the garage with windows.
I'm feeling the same about B on this one. Or about A on this one. As B on the other one. It looks similar, but I'm not sure. It's a lot more plain than the other two.
Are you talking about, the one at the top is C? Is that the one you're talking
Yeah,
about?
they've switched them around. A is on the bottom
Yeah.
left.
So this one, you think, yeah.
So you're feeling bad about A.
Yeah.
I agree.
As I did about B, since they were in the same place, I thought they were the same.
So here you like C and B.
Yeah.
I think I agree with that.
Yeah.
Staff has no further comments on the Irvington, as Tony already addressed the three-car garage issue.
Was that bottom left the stepchild or something? Because it's that way on all of them.
Oh, sorry.
Let's put all the ones with black on the bottom left. Yeah,
Oh, you mean the, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Let's
Tony
put them all
answer
for
that question.
Yeah, I don't know.
This is,
Maybe they don't think your eye's supposed to be going there. Marketing lays these out. I don't know.
Yeah, that's.
And it's not that the elements aren't there, they just look awkward to me.
Well, it's almost like there's a modern mixed with a traditional in B there. It's like two houses married together.
To me, it's the very basic plain back to it, and then a lot going on in the front, and they don't match.
Yeah,
Kind
the
of
roof
what
line
you're
in the
saying.
back doesn't look right. There's not enough. going
So I'm
on.
not sure if we're.
You want to see a
To me,
print?
these are not in. The ones that we pointed out so far are not in keeping with the others that we saw versus. There's a major difference between the three of these, like there has been on all of them, I think. And once again, these are, like that top one is flat in that center gable. But I'm fine with it with everything else going on.
Yeah, that's why I left that one, and I thought it had enough going on to meet the intent of the PUD.
For staff's comments on the Kingston, again, we already talked about it, but it would need, the two-car would need the bump out to meet the minimum garage size, which, if provided at a permit stage, staff would approve. And then secondly, again, they'll have an issue with the third-car garage not meeting the 50% max requirement. So this will be a home that provides two cars.
Correct.
That's just the brick versions of the Kingston, so same elevation, just additional brick allowances. Here's the Valencia.
Okay, I don't mind that one as much. I think it was that the really low hip roof that didn't match the rest of it.
Yep.
Staff had no comments or concerns on the
That looks good.
The top one's fairly plain, but at least it has the shingle on the upper part of
Valencia.
it,
There's the brick versions of the Valencia.
or shake.
It's dimensional somehow.
Yeah. And again, no 3-car on these as well.
I think this one might be the 3-car.
Really?
Oh, it's wider, yes.
Wider.
It,
I think it's
it's 48.
48 or 50.
Yeah.
48.
Do any of these concern you?
Well, the brick color, I think, is terrible.
Yeah.
I guess I can't, you know. That's just awful. The right brick, I think, would be okay.
Yeah, there's not a lot going on the top one, but it's not
Yeah, it's not.
unpleasing.
It's okay.
Move on to Antonati.
What?
Antonati. And I have good news, there's not a bunch of these. Hampshire B, Irvington B.
And we took the
Well, B wasn't
B
a,
out,
B
so
out.
If you maintain that, then we can skip this slide.
I think we were
Yes.
in agreement.
Okay. Irvington A and Irvington B, and you
That's
took
out,
Irvington
too.
A out, so let's move that one.
Makes sense.
The Valencia B and the Kingston B, and took the B out there. Here's the Jasper C and the Irvington B.
I think those are enough different.
They're different.
I agree.
The pitch, the slope of the roof is different and they're swapped a bit.
Mhm.
Garage is the same, everything else is
Yeah.
different.
And that is it.
That's it? That was easy enough.
It's easier if there aren't 50.
Yeah. Looks like that's it.
That's it. I think just to help formulate some thoughts, I think if you're so inclined, to make a motion to approve as presented with the caveats that you felt the Hampshire B, the Irvington A, and the Kingston B did not meet the character and quality of illustrative exhibit provided in the PUD, and therefore those 3 elevations would not be permitted and all others approved.
Hampshire B, Irvington A, and what was the third one?
Kingston B.
And then a 4-foot extension on the Kingstons should be noted, probably.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
I move we approve the elevations as presented with the exception of Hampton B, Irvington A, and Kingston B, with note made of the 4-foot bump out for the garage square footage on the Kingston.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Passes 3-0.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have issues with the size of the AutoZone sign, so I'm fine. But.
Okay, next meeting is July 16th.
We'll have Hopefully Store America all ready for you, and there was something else that's escaping me right now that we pulled that wasn't ready, so we should have a few items at least next month.
Anybody have another motion?
Move we approve, adjourn?
Second?
We are adjourned.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.